It's 11:15 p.m. on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. And over the last 20 minutes, there's been the same weirdo wandering up and down the sidewalk and standing in front of the doorway to this building, talking loudly and trying to get into the building. I had a physical run-in earlier this evening with some psycho who kept wandering around on the stairwells and in the hallways, who didn't seem to know where he was going in the building and evidently was not an actual resident of the building. The psychos in this building like to leave the side door to the parking lot wide open sometimes for hours, where they stick like coins or safety pins or other types of objects into the groove that forces the door to stay open. And so when you get these weirdos sort of loitering around the entrances at night who seem to be trying to get into the building, it's always a bit of a concern because you're not sure what they're up to. A few of them have ended up on my floor, and you're walking down the hall at 1 a.m, and there's some psycho suddenly standing in the stairwell area that smells absolutely horrible and look like they just got dragged in from the gutter, because they probably did. And then your safety suddenly is very much in jeopardy with these psychos trying to get into the building from the street. And they obviously have some sort of an agenda. I mean, they're in here because they're looking for something, or they want to steal something, or they want to hurt somebody. It's funny how they often end up on the 4th floor. I mean, I've had like 6 or 7 weirdos loitering in the stairwells of the 4th floor at 1 or 2 a.m, literally looking like they just got dragged in from the gutter. They smell horrible. They look like they've been sleeping on a park bench for days, and they look psychotic. So you don't know what they're going to do when they try to access the 4th floor, and they always end up on the 4th floor for some reason. So if that psycho weirdo who's been loitering around directly below these windows for the last 20 minutes suddenly shows up on this floor outside of my door, that's happened before as well, then he was somehow drawn here by some type of hate stalking sex offender app that Jasmine Irizarry seems to be in charge of managing somehow. Again, seems to be some sort of Soros-funded psycho circus that sponsors large numbers of sex offenders and connects them electronically to potential victims, single women living alone, such as myself, who don't look like everyone else in the building. And then you have a recipe for a lot of crime. These are hit people. They're literally drawn in here by an app, a sex offender rapist app. I'm not the one who came up with that idea. Somebody told me about that back in 2017. And they use geo-tracking and surveillance devices in the living space of single women living alone, and then tell the sex offenders and rapists exactly where to find these women and show them footage of these women, using the toilet, taking a shower, tell these psychos where the woman lives, provides them with access to the women's building. I'm not saying that this is a women's building. I'm saying these single women who are targeted by the sex offenders. And then the sex offenders try to break down their door and assault these women. That's a fact. I'm surprised the cops don't know about this, but there's a lot of things they don't seem to be aware of at all, because they're basically BLM's little bitch. And this seems to be a BLM thing, mostly, as far as I can tell, at least as it pertains to this building complex. This isn't the first time there's been some psycho loitering around for extended periods of time, trying to get into the building and then showing up on the 4th floor, even though they don't live in the building and they're just wandering around. Again, I just had a run-in with a weirdo earlier this evening, and I have it on video. He doesn't seem to live in this building either. And he was wandering around looking for the front entrance and side entrance and saying he had no idea where he was. He didn't know where he was going. Oh, look, there's a side entrance. I mean, who the hell let him in here? And why was he in the building to begin with? And then why was he suddenly showing up in the rear stairwell when I happened to be there, even though I went to the rear stairwell to get away from the psycho weirdos who hate stalk women in this building and can't leave women alone? And sure enough, he wouldn't leave me alone. So just for the record, there's been some weirdo over the last 25 minutes now who's still sitting there in the entrance trying to get into the building. I mean, if he's a guest, then why doesn't the person he's visiting let him in? Legitimately, right? Clearly, he's not legitimately a guest. He's just trying to get into the building.